Rapper, songwriter, and Grammy Award winner T.I. once said, "Life is an interesting journey. You never know where it'll take you. Peaks and valleys, twists and turns. You could get the surprise of your life. Sometimes on the way to where you're going, you might think this is the worst time of my life. But you know what? At the end of the road, through all the adversity, if you could get to where you wanted to be, you remember whatever don't kill you make you stronger. And all the adversity was worth it. On the way to the top, you'll do anything. But how do you get your life back when you get there?" The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Richard Vargas, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All of the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you will meet on the show are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student has written and directed 4 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves and the productions they've created, and give you the chance to get to know them and enjoy some of the work they've done during the semester. Our guest today is not only an NCC student, but is also continuing her education at Southern New Hampshire University for a degree in human resources. She also works in a management position at a local hotel. We would like you to meet today's guest, Isamarie Rodriguez. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. So, first question, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so as a child, I grew up watching wrestling, and particularly WWE. We could show a little bit of that video. So I grew up watching WWE, and I always wanted to be a wrestler. But you're not rolling it. Hold on, I just froze up. I'm sorry.
I remember you told me you were trying to look for places to train you and everything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I do another one? Shit. Can I do another one?
So that was your childhood dream.
Yeah, that was my childhood dream. So I grew up watching wrestling. Finally, I grew up watching wrestling, and I've always been a huge fan of WWE or whatever. So I grew up with 6 male cousins, and I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been power bombed, choke slammed, rock bottom, and stunnered. But through high school, I learned that I'm just not physically capable of being a wrestler because it requires an enormous amount of endurance and strength, which unfortunately I wasn't blessed with. So I found another passion, which was writing. And I was so passionate about it that I ended up publishing a book right out of high school. Looking back on it, I'm not as proud as I should be about it because it's my first project and it's a little embarrassing. So I ran away from following my dream or following that career path. And I just started, I just couldn't fathom or think about writing ever again. I'm still kind of in that place a little bit, but yeah, I'm slowly coming out of it. Here you see my favorite rap group, Social Club Misfits. That's actually my boyfriend. That's the second time we met them. The first time we met them, he actually jumped up on stage and asked me out. And then they were just remembering us. That's my cat. That's my dog. I just got him. And so I ran away from the creative field, and I ran straight into the hospitality industry, particularly the hotel industry. And that's the hotel I work at. It's Hotel 0 Degrees in Danbury, where I've grown tremendously with them. I've been with them for 5 years. It will be 5 years in this December. So I started off as a front desk agent, and I worked my way all the way up to the general manager position. But even though I work in hospitality now, I still have a reminder or I still have that passion to go back to writing. And just the daily reminders, that's my desk, and you see Roman Reigns and Woody just chilling on my desk. They just
got the hat on.
Like I said, they're just there to remind me that go back to your dream, go back to following your dream.
Right. That's always good to have that reminder there, too. Yeah. So could you tell us why you decided to take the film and television production courses?
Yeah. So I decided to take this class because I didn't just want to dip my toe in and just take a regular writing course to go back to following my dream of being a writer or something in the creative field. I took this class because I wanted to dive straight in and just figure out and see everything and what goes into actually the TV and film side of things as opposed to just the writing thing. And some people, they have these dreams, but they don't pursue them because they're afraid of failing. And I'm just doing this because I don't care if I fail, because at least I tried. And some people don't even try.
Exactly. At least you have, you know, the ability to say that you gave it a shot and everything.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most useful things you've learned in the course?
So some of the most useful things I've learned, I didn't know anything about cameras at all, aside from the one on my phone, and I try to avoid that as much as I can. I learned just techniques like the shift focus or the rack focus, the different exposure, the lighting exposures, different camera angles. I learned about the poor man's dissolve, which is interesting because the only poor man I ever learned about was the poor man's copyright. And if you're not familiar with that, it's when you put your work, your written work, in an envelope and mail it to yourself, and that stamp is considered a copyright. Gotcha. So no one can steal it. Another thing I've learned is the Avid program. Never even heard of it in my life until this class. And it is quite interesting, and I really, really want to get my hands on it even more and just dive in and learn like all the different things I can do with that.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. Tell us a little bit more about the Student Studies, Cup of Tea, Nature Project, and the Orange Project that you created.
Yeah, so the Student Studies Project, it's my first project, and it felt like I was the road runner before he starts running. So as soon as he hits the ground and he takes off, that's kind of what I felt like. I was just learning about just recording and using the camera for the first time, and just the storyboard. I was introduced to the storyboards. I was introduced to the field shot sheet. I was introduced to the EDL, or edit decisions list. And just like learning what a jump shot is the hard way and not to do them unless it's really intended. And I recorded that in one of the hotel rooms. Cup of Tea, I learned, more importantly, the camera placement. I learned sound in Cup of Tea. In the original video, or in the video that I created, you can hear the actual microwave buttons that I added on after. I also learned how to control the volume in Avid. That's my mom. I had to shoot that 5 times. In my nature project, I learned the shift focus, and this is where I actually learned the poor man's dissolve. I learned the continuous zooms and the emotional lines. That's shot at Rogers Park in Providence, Rhode Island. I went all the way up there for the nature project. You're welcome.
Wow, that's dedication right there.
Yeah. That was the only animal I could find.
At least you found one. That was a really nice shot. Must have been a beautiful park, I'm sure.
Yeah. My orange project, I originally had an actress, but she couldn't make it, so I had to do it myself, which is difficult for me because I don't like being in front of the camera. I'm very, very camera shy. But what separates, or what I like about the orange project is the fact that I used cutaways a lot. And again, just adding the effects in Avid of the dissolves and stuff like that on the certain scenes you'll see, if it continues, certain scenes you'll see that have the dissolve effect.
Right. Gotcha. So out of those 4 projects, there must be one that you either had a really good time doing or that really shows off your skills. So tell us a little bit more about that one and what makes it stand out among the others.
Yeah. So my best project, I think, is my orange project. We can take a look if you like of some of the video I did. The story, or the orange project, gave me freedom to just really create something, and just it'll be my story, or something that I wrote. So the orange actually represents the girl in the story who unfortunately is going through some dark times. She's not very happy with herself, and she's trying to ask her boyfriend to come and try to be with her, just to make sure that she doesn't do nothing stupid at night or whatever. And she actually ends up doing something stupid, and that's why I said the orange is a really good symbol to what she does to herself, and a really good censorship to what she does. I also used a lot of cutaways in this video just to give myself some more time and give myself a more effect. As a writer, I use a lot of commas, so I take cutaways and just use them as the visual commas in a story. Mm-hmm.
I really like that shot early on too, where the phone was on the floor, and then you can see the mirror image almost. That one right there. Yeah, I think it's very creative. I don't know. It was just very nice. But So you mentioned a variety of things that you've learned in this course. So what was the most interesting and important skill that you learned, and how do you think you'll put it to use in the future?
And honestly, everything I learned in this course is very important. It's something that I do want to use in the future. I do want to continue with in the future. Just the different camera angles, the rack focus, the poor man's dissolve, the Avid system itself, or software itself. I'm very excited to what the future holds, and I'm excited to take the next course.
Gotcha. I gotta say, for somebody who's never picked up a camera or done Avid, you've done a pretty good job in some of those shots and everything. So it was pretty interesting.
Thank you.
Today we got to meet someone who shared with us her first experience back to NCC. As a new TV director, she hopes to apply what she has learned here at NCC to further her education in the TV and film industry. We would like to thank Isamarie Rodriguez for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed meeting one of television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you, and have a great day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Richard Vargas, directed by Tyree Azell. I'm your announcer, John Martinez. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production.